Hey guys, this is just going to be a quick video talking about how I do insertions for FMC. Before I get into it, I'll just do a brief explanation of what insertions are for those who don't know. What that is once you have solved most of the cube except for maybe a few pieces, in this case we have a 3-cycle of corners, you write out all of those moves and then you go through what's called a skeleton, which is those moves that solve most of the cube. And to do insertion is to find a place where you can insert an algorithm to solve these pieces while also cancelling moves around the skeleton. And I have an example of such on my screen. So that's what an insertion is, and then how to actually do one. There's firstly the traditional way, which most people used and learned how to use, which is for the remaining pieces you need to solve, you trace out the cycle. So for example, this sticker, the orange, I don't know if my camera's picking up color well, orange of this goes to here, and then this from this piece has to go to here, and this one goes back there, and it cycles like that. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you put stickers on your cube with like 1, 2, 3 in that cycle, and then you use those to trace out how, like, where the corners are within the skeleton. And that's a perfectly good way of doing insertions. Is actually at probably the highest level better than what I do, at least for simple insertions like 3 corners, 5 corners, stuff like that. But the way I learned to do insertions was from Rob Stewart, also known as Breast. So the way he taught me to do insertions is that at any point in the skeleton, let's say in this case I have like an arrow there, I'll just highlight it. So let's say in my skeleton I want to check that point right there and see what the cube looks like, but I don't have stickers. So what you actually do is you do all the moves after that arrow, so D, L, F, L prime, blah blah blah, and then you do the scramble, which is listed at the top, R prime, U prime, F, etc. And then all the moves leading up to that arrow, so L prime, D prime, F prime, blah 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 blah, D2, F2. And if you do it correctly, on your cube you will have the exact point in the solution that that arrow is. So I'll actually just do that right now. So D, L, F, L prime, blah, blah, blah. D2, F2. And then by doing that, I have these 3 corners cycled, and I can use an algorithm to solve them from this point that I've kept track of. And by doing that throughout the whole skeleton, I can pick the one which cancels the most moves. In this example, that insertion cancelled 4 moves. So that's how I do insertions, and you're probably thinking, you know, it must be really time consuming to check every single point in a skeleton just for that, especially if you have multiple insertions to do. And the thing is, it is, but at the same time there are some shortcuts to using this method which you can learn. Like for example, if you get to a certain point and you see I don't know, like this 3-cycle. This is just like a random example. There are many others. You just go kind of learn them for yourself. Like this one, this sticker goes to there, which goes to there, which goes to there. This is a per special. And any double turn will keep it as a per special. And this is, I think, the worst type of corner 3-cycle you can get. It can be optimally solved in 12 moves as opposed to 8 for a pure con. So if you see like a bunch of double turns after that point, which you've checked, you can just skip them all because you know they'll all be trash. So stuff like that you can do. And even just by doing it the normal way, I have actually timed how long it takes me to check certain types of insertions. And the time it takes me actually is relatively on pace with my friend Walker Welch, who currently holds FMC NAR mean. So that means, at least in my eyes, that this method can at the very least be comparable with what good FMC solvers do. Another thing I really like about this method for checking insertions is that for complicated skeletons that don't just have a few pieces unsolved, like, let's say like 3 edges, 5 corners, or some crap like that, it makes it a lot easier to visualize everything, and you can also take advantage of not actually inserting commutators to solve pieces or algorithms, but just like doing moves to solve the cube, and maybe reduce it to like some kind of 3-corner cycle in a way that isn't actually a commutator. So yeah, I think there are actually a lot of advantages to this method, one of which is that it's very easy to learn. Even someone who doesn't know nis, pre-moves, just like general FMC techniques, someone like that can learn this very easily because the way it works is so brain dead simple. So yeah, that's it for this video. That's how I've been doing insertions, and it's gotten me where I am today in FMC, wherever that may be. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.